Welcome to the Spirituality What? Podcast, where we explore the mysteries, joys, and challenges of being spiritual beings navigating our unpredictable human experience we call life here on planet Earth. I'm your friendly guide, Rebecca, ready to jump into our adventure of the day. Hey guys, happy Wednesday, happy hump day. This is Rebecca with Spirituality What? We are back this week with part 2 of the Massage as Spiritual Beings episode with my friend Jake. Pretty excited this week. We talk a little bit about Rolfing, which is interesting. I had to look that up. And Ida Rolf, who he classifies as kind of the grandmother of structural integration. We talk about his spiritual experience as being the practitioner. We also talk about what weird things we believe in, which is kind of a fun part of this conversation. We talk a little bit about light language and then Jake's experience as the one actually getting the massage and how to make deeper connections with your own massage. Jake also uses his 7 metals Tibetan singing bowl, and that's a really cool thing to hear on the recording. I also wanted to throw in there this week, we've been launching a lot of new products of our Spiritual Gangsta and Spiritual as Fuck merch. So head over to spiritualitywhat.com and the merch link's either at the top of the page or on the About page. Don't forget to tell all your friends about this podcast. And here we go to finish out this week with Jake's episode. So you have to study a lot for that more.
It's a whole different slice of anatomy and physiology that we didn't learn in school.
Yeah. Okay.
But now, like I was saying, it's like these are the enlightened times. Yeah. They do teach this stuff in school, in regular massage school. So it's cool. It's really good.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So myofascial work. I mean, fascia, I feel like for me, that's where the actual massage is. Like, I feel like that's where all my problems have been, like, yes, muscles, but like more than just that. And so I feel like it's an important part of massage.
I agree
in my
with that.
experience, at least.
That's great to hear. Like, I don't think a lot of people that receive massage know about it.
Mm-hmm.
It falls under the category of structural integration a lot of times. So more people I think have heard of Rolfing. And Rolfing is another structural integration. It's like the grandmother of all structural integration.
Okay.
And this Dr. Ida Rolf, she was this brilliant woman who she's been working since like the 60s, doing this way ahead of its time work with people. And so now I'm working with Tom Meyer's work, and he's like a student of Ida Rolf, and he's in his 70s, and it's like so it's like it's been a long time in the coming to make it where it is to almost mainstream.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think more people know about it now than they used to.
Yeah. So I think it's safe to say that Jake's massage practice is very unique. Although you can do some, maybe less exciting massages, in my opinion, if people are looking for that.
Yeah.
But it can be a very different kind of massage experience. So as the massage therapist, what is your experience giving sort of a more traditional deep tissue, sports massage, whatever, versus this unique Jake Kelly massage experience that you've created? Like, how does that feel for you?
Well, I have to say that I cheat a little bit.
Oh, okay. What does cheating look like?
So, I'll listen to what the person wants, and I'll kind of repeat it back to them, just so I get the idea of where in their bodies they're feeling constricted, or what they need and where it's at. And I'll get in there and do my thing. And it's like pieces of all that stuff from all my training, but it ends up being something more. And when it comes down to it on the physical level, that's what these people are usually looking for, is a good physical massage, especially like athletes for a sports massage. It's fascia. It is. It's like you're saying, it's all in the fascia. So what I'm doing is my fascial work, and maybe I'll sneak a little energy work in by gently suggesting that they breathe all the way into their heart. No, I don't
yeah.
call it the hara. I call it their core.
Yeah.
And then breathe out slowly to get them connected with their body and letting go of any tension, because the more that they can be relaxed,
that's true,
the deeper I can get in with the work.
Absolutely.
And that's energy.
Yeah,
That's
it
all.
is.
That's all it is.
So you kind of, even though you might not give them the full Jay Kelly experience, there you still are always bringing in the energy work into your massages.
Yeah. And sometimes the sound will want to peek out, and sometimes I'll let it, but it'll come out as a sigh instead of like, that sort of thing. Whatever.
Yeah. It's a little bit more reserved in those cases.
Yeah.
So, because you're still giving the energy aspect of the massage, it is that, like, it's still a very rewarding experience for you. That's what I'm kind of getting down.
Yeah.
Still,
I love it.
You're not having these experiences where you feel like you can't be you in the massage room because you can't do the energy because you're just doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say it's very few and far between anymore.
Yeah.
Because I'm very intentional about the kind of people that I draw in too.
Totally. Yeah. Well, your vibe attracts your tribe. I feel like I've said that with a bunch of other people recently, but it's like, you're offering this unique experience, and people who already have a certain level of openness to this type of experience are probably being drawn to you as well, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And I put it out there. I've done coaching work, and I've done all sorts of self-improvement and intentional work to specifically attract the kind of clientele that I want to work with.
Well, going to the metaphysical fair, for example, right?
Exactly.
Like, that's a great place to find people who would be into like a weird massage. It's not weird. I don't think it's weird. I think it's great. And I think the definition of weird is weird.
Oh, that's a high compliment. I love weird. Yeah.
Somebody asked me the other day, was talking about the podcast, and they were like, "What's the weirdest thing that you believe in?" And I was like, I don't think any of the things I believe in are weird. I was like, I don't know. Like, what's weird to you? Like, are aliens weird to you? Or like what's the definition of weird here? Like, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Like, what's the weirdest thing you believe in?
Oh, geez. I think that weird is relative, just like normal is relative.
Yeah, exactly.
The weirdest thing, you already touched on it probably. Like, the weirdest thing that I would be reserved in talking about with just anybody, like a new client right off the bat, would be like light language. Yeah. But
I don't think that's
in
weird.
everyday life, I'm so used to it as a part of me that I'm basically masking for the masses.
Yeah, totally. You're just reserved. You're just a little more reserved. Yeah. So we haven't talked about light language on the podcast before. So you did a little bit of it, but like, what does that mean to you exactly?
Well, okay, so here it is. The way that you and I are talking right now, we are using a language that is decided upon, that is a format that we can relate information in a utility way, right? Between people, between groups of people, and it's very important. That being said, this language is illusory. In my way of thinking about things, it's real, but it is symbolic.
Okay.
Purely, we have decided that these sounds, these symbols that we use as language, they mean things. We have assigned meaning to them, right? So when we take it into light language comes out as like speaking in tongues, right? It comes out as these sounds that are unfamiliar, that I don't even know what I'm saying except for the feeling of it.
Yes.
And it's more, dare I say it, pure than normal language, quote unquote. Yeah.
It's really more about feeling rather than anything else.
Right. And that feeling is the connection that you spoke of at the beginning. Yeah.
It's kind of channeled.
It is channeled.
Yeah.
It is. It's a connection with something greater than me.
Totally.
Greater than you, greater than us. but it's here too. And I think it's always here. We're just hearing it sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure. Yeah. Or not tuned in.
Potentially. Right. Yeah. And sometimes maybe a person will go through their whole lives and not be tuned in. I think that's a real shame.
Yeah.
That's sad for them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Somebody showed me a video recently of this woman chanting, singing, maybe both a little bit in light language. And of course it's very unique. And I feel in my experience with light language, whenever anyone is speaking or singing light language, it's always very different. And so when you look at her and you use this like analytical brain, you're like, oh, that's interesting. Like, but then I closed my eyes. And it was like, I literally, and I'm getting goosebumps again, but I literally could just feel like just this warmth wash over me and just like, it felt so ancient, but also new at the same time. Like it was a lot of really interesting kind of conflicting feelings and emotions that I was getting, all good.
Yeah.
But it was like a really interesting experience.
I like that.
And it was fucking gorgeous. I mean, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like once I was able to sort of get out of my head, I was like, could really appreciate it.
Sure.
It was really cool.
I like what you said, that it felt ancient and new at the same time. Yeah,
it was
that kind of dialectical reality.
Yeah, it was like really confusing when I was able to finally put together what I was like feeling there, and I was like, it's like old and futuristic and new, and I was like, it's like I can feel from a long time ago, but also it's like transcendent time, basically, is kind of what it felt like.
Oh, interesting. I love that. Yeah, it's the ancestors from both ways.
Yeah, it was like everything all at once when I was feeling it. But also she just had, I mean, her voice was amazing. She had an amazing voice too. But yeah, it was really cool. Lovely. It was very interesting. Yeah. Okay, so as a practitioner, you bring energy and thus spirituality to all of your massages, and you just are then able to express it to varying degrees.
I suppose that's a good way of saying it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
So, do you ever get massages?
Oh, I get massage all the time.
Okay.
Whenever I can. Okay. Whenever I can. Yeah.
So, how is that experience for you on a spiritual perspective, getting a massage?
Oh, it depends on where I'm at. Sometimes, like in recent times, I've been going through a lot in my personal life, and I find that when I'm stressed out and if I'm not in the right headspace to go receive a massage, I get less out of it. Sure. But, and then I'm like, inevitably, like halfway through, or maybe the last 5 minutes, I'm like, oh God, I forgot to do the thing.
I forgot to breathe.
Set my intention to receive well what I can from this massage experience. And so that just tells me that I haven't been practicing enough. I haven't been getting enough massage. I haven't been doing my spiritual practice enough. So
a little distracted, maybe.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what disconnection is to as far as spiritual distraction goes. Like, we're disconnected. I think that like you hit it on the head. Yeah, I was distracted.
I was listening to something today about presence, and I can't remember the woman's name. And she was just talking about how when like distraction, I'm like completely butchering what she said, but distraction gets us away from presence, just in general. Like if you're distracted, or like she was saying, like when you're moving too quickly or something, like you're distracted from the present moment, from presence, and that's when you like forget things, and you know you're going on a trip and you forget to pack 10 things, and it's because you were like not present with your packing. You know, you were distracted by a bunch of other things. It's just hard to be present and distracted, which you basically say, like, if you're getting a massage, you're getting a physical benefit. You're always going to get a physical benefit.
Sure.
You're probably even going to get an energetic, even unintended energetic benefit, right?
Yeah, you're right.
But you can't get as into it. You're not as open because you're just, floating around up here.
Right. Presence. That's what it's all about. When somebody's in front of me on the table and I'm there, I don't want to chit chat.
It's true. Yeah. You're right.
I'll entertain that, and we'll talk sometimes, especially if it's you, like I haven't seen you in a while. We got some things to catch up on. We'll get that out of the way, and then we're into it, and like I will intentionally bring language into the mix to bring them back into their body,
Yeah,
especially if they're chatting.
Yeah.
And get them to breathe and remember what it is to be in their body. So I can be present with them, and then we're present together. And if we're on the same page with that presence and that energy moving in the same direction, big things can happen.
So do you feel a difference in the muscles and the fascia when you're giving a massage to somebody who's chatty versus somebody who is deep breathing and connected in their body?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Moreover, I'm not going to say always.
Sure.
Some people are really good at being both.
Mm.
They can be in their body and talking away and like in a moment, like, oh yeah, right there, like, and know what's going on in the session. Moreover, though, what I notice is people that are kind of in their head a lot, and their words are coming out a mile a minute or something. That's and I can do that. Don't get me wrong.
Totally.
When I get distracted or when I get disconnected, but I've gotten better at snapping back into it. There's my breath. I remember. I have a body.
Yeah. Breathing. Like I forgot I was doing that.
But yeah, it feels like they're probably holding tension more often, that they don't know is there because they're not as aware of what's going on in their body.
Yeah. So you might see a difference. Okay. So you as a practitioner mostly have spiritual energetic massage experiences, and as a recipient of massages you kind of go both ways. Yeah, well, just depending on where you're at.
I've been fortunate enough to run into enough people in my career that I trade. I usually trade with massage therapists.
I love that.
Massage therapists always trade with each other. It's just a thing we do, great. And so I like attracts like. A lot of times we run into each other and like it's like magnetism. Okay, well, energy, like there we are. And so I've gotten a lot of great energy massages from a lot of great practitioners, and not one of them is the same. That's the cool thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's very true. It is really interesting. I was in a car accident in 2010, and you know this, but I spent years. I don't know how many massage therapists I saw. And it does take, I feel like massage therapists are like regular therapists. It can take about as long to find a good massage therapist fit as it can to find a regular therapist fit, because they're just, everyone's motivated in a different way for it, right? Like, I can't not even remember the name of the place. I'm not bad-mouthing Massage Envy here. I'm just going to use that. It was like a chain that I went somewhere when I was on a trip, and I was just like, this just wasn't, I'm sure I got a physical benefit, but I just wasn't into it. It was like, didn't do it.
It's hit or miss, right? Yeah, that's what I hear about chains, right? Like, you never know what you're going to get.
Right, exactly. And so it can be very interesting. So I guess what recommendations would you give to somebody who's like on the hunt for a Jake Kelly experience, but they don't live in Colorado Springs?
All right, so they're looking for...
They're maybe looking for a little bit more.
Massage.
Maybe. Like, are they looking for... would somebody advertise like Reiki and massage therapy, and maybe that's like a good fit? Or like, I don't even know what honestly, I have your business card in my wallet, but I've never even looked at it. Like, what is your business card?
I stopped looking at it. I don't even know what it says anymore.
How would somebody know that they can get this additional experience with you?
That's an interesting question. Honestly, most of my business comes from word of mouth anymore.
True. That makes sense.
Well, that's not true. The internet has brought me a lot of new clients in recent years, but what it does is it refers them to my website, and I have an informational website which gives people a big clue as to how
it gives them more insight into sort of the type of experience.
Yeah. I would say do your research a little bit. You don't have to dig for hours to find what you need to find, and trust what you see and how it responds, how you respond to it, like the first time.
Your instincts.
Listen to it.
But you bring up a really good point, which is like the technology we have now allows massage therapists, sort of business owners to express more of what it is that they do ahead of time.
Sure. In
words that fit with their style, right? And if you don't vibe with the bio online, you might not actually vibe with the person.
There you go. Yeah. I found it's interesting. I found that even the colors that I've chosen, I didn't know that I was choosing them from a place of wisdom, if you will. At the time, I was just like, oh yeah, I like those colors, you know. But it turns out that those are the colors that I've heard people say, you know, your card attracted me or your website attracted me because the colors. And it's interesting, even something like that, like the vibration of the light on the website or on the card, you know. Doesn't matter what the words said.
Right. You're like, oh, I like the colors. I like that. I'm like, what colors are they? I have your card in my wallet, but like, what colors?
Well, I tend toward these kind of like tealy blues.
I was like, jewel tones is what I sort of got in my head when you were like colors. I was like,
and
like,
violets and purples, you know, and different things.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I think what I'm hearing you say, and this vibes with what we've gotten from a lot of our other episodes, is as it's really up to the person and their state of mind whether massage would be a spiritual experience for them. But for you, as the practitioner, it kind of always is.
Yeah, I think I'm not going to say that I'm always on my game
100%. Of course. I mean, sometimes we're all doing a little bit better than other days, of course. But
like if I'm tripping over my feet, running up the stairs, and like spilling my coffee because I'm 10 minutes late, it might be a little bit off. But you know, most of the time, it only takes me a few minutes to get into the zone once I get there.
Yeah. So, okay, so now we're saying go look online, look at people's websites to sort of find this experience. So in the experience, if someone's like, okay, I've just I've had like, quote, normal, like non-experienced massage. I've had regular massages. If they're maybe with a massage therapist who is not offering these kind of cool experiences, what suggestions would you have for them to maybe connect to their spirituality or to make a deeper connection with the massage?
Sure. Well, if people are interested in trying to find a deeper experience with their massage and they're not feeling like they're getting what they want where they're at, I say don't be afraid to experiment. Mm-hmm. I also say maybe don't look outside yourself so much and find a breathing practice or a yoga class, something that will get you in touch with your body, because that's the other side of what I do. I consider body work twofold.
Okay.
There's active and there's passive.
Mm-hmm.
And passive is what I do for people.
Right.
And active is what you do for yourself.
Right.
And I think that active body work is, I'm not sure exactly how much more important, but it's more important.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's not that it's not important to get that perspective of how does my body move and feel when I'm not the one putting the tension through it to produce the movement, you know, because that's a valuable perspective. But it's more important to know your interior. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, do some breath work.
Yeah. Well, and you did kind of mention that earlier, which is like connecting, like recognizing the breath, being aware of the breath. And I think you do that every single massage. Like you start with that, right? For sure. I'm trying to, it's been a while since I've had a massage, but I'm pretty sure I remember you saying like, you know, take a deep breath, you know, make sure you imagine the air going into like all the parts of your body or whatever. Like it's like this really conscious, focused, aware, present breathing activity kind of at the beginning, which to me is like the beginning of the meditation anyway, but
it's become a ceremony. Yeah. I start and end my massages with bits of ceremony. You know, like I brought this. Can I bring it?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the other part of sound healing for me is using tools. I have a Tibetan singing bowl here. It's one of the like traditional style 7 metals bowls that I bought at Jonathan Goldman Retreat, and I really love it. So I'm just gonna ring it. Hopefully it'll come through on the microphone. But one of my spiritual teachers, very famous Zen monk Thich Nhat Hanh, Zen master, he talks about the bell of mindfulness. We ring it to bring ourselves back home. So when we hear the bell, it's an invitation to come back home to ourselves. And so this is what I ring before and after every session, just about.
Yeah, definitely felt the vibrations on that one. But also I heard like multiple different sounds at the same time.
Did you? Oh, yeah. You're getting into the harmonics.
Really
there.
interesting. I was like, I don't know if I've noticed that before.
Yeah. You want to hear it again?
Yeah,
Can I ring it again?
Let's
Okay, let's listen for the multiple layers of sound. I'll ring it a little louder.
Yeah, it's like an echo almost or something.
Yes.
Super unique.
So it really has a lot going on there. I've put a tuner on before because totally. I'm kind of a nerd. Like I play guitar and I've got this little tuner that you can like put on things and it feels it and it records the vibration and tells you what hertz it is, and it also tells you in the letter and like the pitch. And I counted 7 different pitches.
It like jumps around like crazy. Yeah.
So there's a lot going on there, and every sound. Think about this: that even as we're speaking with our voices, the sounds that we're using, even though we're using words, they have these multiple layers of harmonic frequencies. Not just the formant that you would say this is the pitch. Yeah. But all of the layers up and down from there that are subtle. Some are so subtle you can't hear them because we're limited beings, right? Yeah. But it's all soaking in. So when somebody comes into the room and they're like, F this and I don't like that, they're really putting out a kind of energy, not just with what they're saying, but with their
presence,
their very sound.
Exactly.
And if you're talking to me and you're trying to kind of convey a peaceful presence and a connection, the tone of voice and the words you choose, even the way you breathe and the cadence that you use, they're all sound healing aspects of sound.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. No, this is great. We're definitely on the lookout. I definitely want to do some episodes on frequency and sound and song and music. Like there's a lot. There's a ton of opportunities there. So more to come on those. But this has been a really great conversation so far.
Yeah.
We're about at time.
I'm loving it.
So I wanted to kind of just wrap up with just what is one tip that you have about living as a spiritual being in this human form that you would like to share with listeners?
Yeah, I've said it again and again already.
It's okay.
Breathe. It's not just breathe. It's be aware. Bring presence. That's connection with yourself, and actually feel your breath as you sit, as you move, as you drive.
It's such an unconscious activity. Like we would die if we didn't do it, right? So like it has to be something that our body can do without us really paying attention.
Absolutely.
But it's a game changer when you pay attention to your breath, even just for 2 breaths, even just for 1 breath.
Yeah.
It can, and we talked about this a little bit on the last episode with Dr. Deb, and she was saying that what she does, is pause, breathe, become aware. And it's like, you only have to take just 1 deep breath and then you're in the moment, you're present, you're paying attention.
Right. Yeah. And it changes all of your biofrequencies.
Yeah.
If you're on track with it,
right,
if you track it.
You're really into it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much, Jake. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Awesome. I loved hearing that Tibetan singing bowl. And I think that the recording does it pretty good justice. The amount of sounds that you could hear in that singing bowl at one time was just unreal. Thanks, everybody, for joining this episode this week. That closes out our conversation of massage as spiritual beings with Jake. And yeah, we're getting pretty excited for the upcoming episodes. I just want to heads up and let folks know that I'm going to be on vacation almost the entire month of September. So I'm pretty excited about that. We were working on getting a lot of fun stuff lined up for that. And we will see you next week. Thank you for joining me on today's Spirituality What? Adventure. Subscribe, rate, review, and share this podcast. Visit us on Instagram at spirituality.what to interact, tell us what spirituality means to you, and even provide some of your own personal musings. Human on, you phenomenal spiritual beings.